Well, you know what they say, fellas. When there's a hole, there's a way. Hey everyone, I'm Hawk, and in this video we're gonna take a look to see if you should play Gloria Victis. Now, as someone who has more than 3,000 hours in game and then another few hundred since return, I can honestly say, no, this is not a first impression video because we are not just gonna scratch the surface. We're gonna dive right in deeper than my declining reality in hopes of ever getting YouTube monetization. So, to describe to you what Gloria Victis is all about, Gloria Victis is like, it's 10% fight, 20% craft, 50% of enemies just looting my ass, my 5% winning, and 50% rage. 100% this game won't ever get me laid. Alright, but for real though, Gloria Victis has a combination of many games. It has the combat system of Mountain Blade, territory control like Planetside, crafting and gathering like RuneScape, and a less punishing looting system like Rust. So what can Gloria Victis offer you? Well, aside from crippling addiction and an overpriced cash shop, Gloria Victis has a mountain of content that will always provide players with something to do. PvP and PvE. Similar to conjoined twins, PvP and PvE are really well mixed together as a lot of rewarding events encourages PvP. Do you want to earn big money? Robbed. Do you want to explore catacombs? Dropped. Do you want to simp for this hot girl? Cocked. Point is, all the good areas of Gloria Victis, whether it's PvP or PvE, it's most likely going to be occupied with players expecting you to attack. So how does the PvP and PvE combat work? It's pretty much directional combat. Depending on where your opponent swings, you either block or chamber in that direction. And if your opponent manages to land a kick while you're blocking, that will stun you, giving your opponent a chance to hit. Overall, it's very easy to learn but difficult to master. Performance. Now, unfortunately, the gameplay in Gloria Victis isn't exactly perfect. There are a ton of noticeable glitches, bugs, desyncs, and even exploits. Bruh, his kick has more range than the freaking weapon. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's so glitchy. Dude, that was like 1 second. Are you fucking kidding? Progression. Progression in Gloria Victis can be an extremely long process if you don't know what you're doing because a lot of the content in the beginning is just tutorial. When I first went back, the first 4 hours of my gameplay was mainly just running around the safe zones, and when I finally got into PvP for the first time, I got absolutely destroyed. Seriously, going to PvP in Gloria Victis can sometimes feel like a Japanese facial because you got people coming at you from all directions. But for real though, the progression in Gloria Victis is very slow and repetitive, especially with how the updates work. When I first played compared to now, high-end equipment costs almost 5 times as much to craft. Not only do you need to grind and level up your gathering skills like mining or woodcutting just to even obtain materials, you also need to find recipes for each item you want to craft. Do you want to make a large bag for inventory space? There's a recipe for that. Do you want to make the components needed for your large bag? There's a recipe for that. Do you want to make the components needed for the components? There's a recipe for that too. Point is, in Gloria Victis, almost every activity in crafting is connected with each other. If you want to craft high-level equipment, you gotta have nearly maxed out or high-level crafting and more than one skill in a recipe. And if you want materials for high-level crafting, you can either buy it from players or have max mining, woodcutting, fishing, and whatever else. Yeah, there's a lot of grind. So let's talk about the stages of Gloria Victis. Early game. In Gloria Victis, early game can range anywhere between level 1 to 60, because until you hit level 60, you won't be able to participate in any of the big 3 world events. While there are other events available, these are the most profitable out of all of them. Mid game. Mid game in Gloria Victis can range anywhere from level 60 to 100, because even if you hit level 100 and got endgame gear, there's a chance that you might not be able to even wear it due to the progression system. End game. End game in Gloria Victis is a little complicated because it's pretty much mid game with the ability to wear endgame equipment. However, to truly experience the endgame in Gloria Victis, you gotta play with a group of players because a lot of PvE or PvP are and will require co-op. Classes. When you start off in Gloria Victis, the professions you pick don't really matter as you can pretty much be a jack-off of all trades. However, being a specific class for combat is a different story. As far as I'm aware, there are a total of 6 main classes: Bruiser, Tank, Medic, Melee Cavalry, Ranger Cavalry, and Archer. Bruiser and Tank is really good and probably the most common class in game as they can wear any type of armor while dealing massive damage and have great defense. Medics and Cavalry are also great classes, however both classes sacrifice their abilities for their respective advantages. Medics are vital for massive fights, and Cavalry, well, they're annoying. Like, really annoying. They just hit you and run away like Dr. Zoidberg.
That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard, you imbecile!
And finally, Archer, the class you play when you really hate yourself. Do you want to be killed in 2 or 3 hits? Play Archer. Do you want to do at best mediocre damage? Play Archer. Wanna know who said I'm a big disappointment? My father. Point is, Archer is a really weak class. Not only are you forced to wear low protection equipment in exchange for mediocre damage, you having long range isn't even that special anymore because melee fighters can now just throw weapons at you. Development. As someone who's been playing Gloria Victis for more than 3,000 hours now, a lot of players like myself have noticed an ongoing pattern, and that is the developers doing the opposite of what the community asks for. Community asks for less NPC Archer, adds more NPC Archers. Don't make the game even more grindy? Let's update the economy anyway and make the game even more grindy. Fix lag, desyncs, and bugs? Maybe someday. So what I'm trying to say is, the developer seems to have a huge disconnect with its player base. Cash out development. Like a lot of MMOs that's been around, Gloria Victis is without a doubt leaning towards pay to win. So how's it work? While a good chunk of the cash out in Gloria Victis are mostly for cosmetics that can be bought and sold for in-game money, there are also items that will significantly increase your progress. Need something to extend your horse's life? Mount Rejuvenation Potion. Need something to level up your other skill trees? EXP and conversion cards. How about just getting money to buy stuff? Sell embers to other players. So how much does cash up really affect pay to win? Not a lot, as it is still a skill based game. However, it can definitely give players an advantage over others as they can use the cash up to progress a lot faster. Community. Second to League of Legends, back when I first played Gloria Victis, it was one of the most toxic gaming communities I've ever been involved in. Players were threatening to kill each other in real life, spying each other through alternative accounts, dox each other over a pair of looted pants, trading feed pics to convince people on switching sides, and even photoshopping someone's 7-year-old niece onto Hitler. Fortunately, since I've returned, the community seems to be a lot more laid back. However, it's still in a shitty position. So why is that? While players abusing each other seems to have died down, the community now faces a new problem, and that's the developers versus the community. When I first returned to starting out completely fresh again, I was in the mindset of just willing to accept whatever ridiculous update they would do. So to give you a bit of context, the Gloria Victis developers are kind of like condom companies. While the updates they implement do deliver fast, effective results, they are also just the best at killing their future customers. But to fully understand what I'm talking about, the developers tend to punish the community now and then to ensure that they make their game last longer by making everything else more grindy. Over the years, a lot of development in Gloria Victis pretty much involves slowing and nerfing everything. Resources become more harder and annoying to obtain, which in result pissed off parts of the community. Essential prices have gone up to hinder the rich players, but instead just screws the new players over, which in result pissed off parts of the community. Doing the opposite of what the players want, which pissed off parts of the community. Pretty much what I'm saying is the developers tend to abuse the community. Now, like a lot of game reviews, for some weird reason, graphics is always a part of it. For me personally, I think the graphics shouldn't matter, however, this is what I can say about it. It looks medieval and pretty well polished. So, should you play Gloria Victis? It's really hard to say, but as of right now, it would be a no. While the game can be fun at first, the game later on is just full of disappointments with each update. Not only are the players no longer having fun and leading towards frustration, I'm actually quite afraid of the developers themselves because they are known for banning players for giving them a negative review. I don't know if they were justified, but I do know that some of these reviews were from legit veteran players. While I do hope to see Gloria Victis grow and be around, the game itself has a solid foundation. But because of the recent and constant disappointing updates of not listening and doing the opposite of what the community wants, I cannot recommend Gloria Victis to anyone. Seriously, communicating with the developers feels like it's about as effective as trying to get a guy with no arms to communicate sign language to a blind person.